Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from Madison Realty Capital, Capital One Bank, Eastern Consolidated, New York Community Bank, M&T Bank, Sterling National Bank, Meridian Capital Group, Customers Bank, AmTrust Title, Ariel Property Advisors, Dime Community Bank. Additional funding has been provided by AVR Realty Company, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Mortgage Lending, Citizens Bank, CPEX Real Estate Services, Colliers International NYC, Collins Building Services, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handler Real Estate Organization, Handro Properties, Hodges Ward Elliott, Inc., Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Matone Group, Mercantile Bank, New Banks, Newmark Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Rockefeller Group, Rosewood Realty Group, SJP Properties, Stonehenge NYC, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Meringoff Family Foundation, the Moynihan Organization, Moynihan Capital Partners, and these friends.
So you got young guys. Why do they go into real estate? What do they want? Why are they in this business? What do they see the future is? Where do they see the opportunities? So today I've assembled these 4 individuals, all under 36 years of age. It depends on the market. And we'll even address each one's age over here. And they're going to tell us how they got into real estate and what they see as the opportunities over there. My guests today include Austin Kay, who is the principal at AGK Development Group, Joe Berte, vice president at M&T Bank Commercial Real Estate, Vic Sozio, who is a co-founder and a principal at Ariel Property Advisors, and last but not least, here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Mark Simon, who is a vice president at Madison Realty Capital. So you are the first. You are what, 29?
29 years old. Yes.
Okay. So how do you decide that real estate was the bug? How was the opportunity to get into it?
Well, having grown up in New York City, you have incredible real estate around you 24/7. And not only that, my family happens to be in commercial real estate. So growing up, I always knew that I wanted to be involved in the real estate industry in some respects.
Did a lot of the kids who, when you went to school, had family involvement in the real estate business at Birchwatson?
There were some. More specifically, when I went to college, there were more kids out there that wanted to be involved in real estate.
But you were saying in the green room that one of the part-time jobs that really gave you the bug, right? Tell me about that.
Yes. So when I was a senior, rather than finishing off my last semester, I decided to take an internship job. It was with a contracting company where the job took place on the 76th and 77th floor of the Time Warner Center, which back then was a brand new building. And being on site in that high of a building really put New York City real estate in perspective for myself, and it gave me that itch, as you were saying. I really wanted to pursue
Now,
it.
when you were at George Washington, because I have 2 George Washington alumni over here, had you taken courses involved with real estate?
Back then, they did not offer any real estate classes. I did convince the dean of the school that I wanted to take a graduate level securitization course, which gave me some information into what I would do in the future in CMBS.
Now, you also subsequently got your master's at the NYU Shack Real Estate Institute.
I did.
Did you feel that getting your master's helped to enhance your business career?
It certainly helped expand my educational knowledge of real estate, and it certainly helped me in the networking aspect of real estate development. There are kids till to this day that I stay in touch with, that I do deals with, and it's, you know,
It was a great opportunity.
It was a good opportunity at the time.
Kid from Massachusetts, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in central Massachusetts, Marlborough. Went to school up in Maine, up at Bowdoin College.
Allegedly a good baseball player?
I played baseball all growing up. Baseball was my life. And Bowdoin was an opportunity to sort of combine a liberal arts education with being able to be on the field and play. And
how do you get involved with banking? I mean, banking and heavily real estate banking.
Sure, so I was a gov and legal major, so clearly nothing to do with banking, but M&T recruits heavily at Bowdoin, and they have something called the Management Development Program that I joined out of school, and I took a trip to Buffalo and stayed in Buffalo for a year, started in the retail bank at M&T, but ultimately really wanted to be in New York City.
But then they sent you to Fishkill.
But they sent me to Fishkill, where I was tasked with training, really, to learn the business and learn real estate at sort of basic level, and prove myself before coming to the bright lights down in New York.
So Austin's more in the development. We'll talk about what he's doing right now. You're more in the lending. Okay, dual major over here, former Marine.
Marine, that's
Okay,
right.
you grew up where?
I grew up in the Bronx.
What was your first taste of real estate, you were saying before?
So growing up, I really had not much exposure at all to real estate and the industry other than hanging out at the on stoops in the Bronx, right? That's what we did. The seed was initially planted in high school and during a summer doing some odd jobs for a good friend's father that owned property in Yonkers. Really sparked my interest. I asked him a lot of questions about the industry, about the business, and it seemed like it was a lucrative business to be in. Fast forward about 5 or 6 years later, when I was attending Manhattan College, I applied for an internship at Massey Knackle at the time, which no longer exists. I interviewed with Shimon Shakuri, who was a partner at Massey during those days. He was also a former military guy, and I think that was one of the reasons we connected right away. I went on to have an internship with him, and I realized that this is a great industry to be in. I love the competitive nature of it. I love the fact that it's something new every day, and I figured out that I'm pretty decent at it, so ended up really trying to build a career in it.
And now we go to the other George Washington graduate. Tell us a little bit about you and how you got involved.
So as you know, as a child, my grandfather was a developer in Pittsburgh. So I spent some time with him on the construction
Also
sites.
in the auto business.
He was very entrepreneurial kind of guy. But I spent a lot of time with him on the construction sites, and that gave me a spark. And through college, I had internships with various real estate development and investment firms in New York. And going into my senior year, I got an internship at Madison Realty Capital, where I still am today.
Let's look at it this way. Madison is a debt and an equity player, in development.
Mm-hmm.
You're in investment sales, so you touch upon all of these people because you're selling and buying, selling properties. You're lending and you're developing. How difficult is it to try to be developing today, with banks still a little tight over there, difficulties to find properties, difficulties because certain owners don't want to sell the properties, they want to get their price. How hard is it to be in that?
It's certainly hard. You have to have a lot of patience in the industry, and certainly in the middle market to low market that I'm dealing with right now, cap rates are low. Sellers are, maintaining their prices.
You'd mentioned to me in the green room that you have 2 projects today. Are these projects, and we were relating to the subject, the networking and the importance, are these projects from people that you met from early existence?
They were from networking. One was, as I mentioned to you in the green room, a project, a multifamily project that is 8 units out in Crown Heights in Brooklyn, which back when I was younger, I know my mother and father would always tell me that's where people would get shot and killed. And today I'm walking around in a suit there and no problem whatsoever. My other project is up in Harlem on 116th Street, where we're actually doing a joint venture with a church, which is a new way that developers are trying to acquire land at a reasonable basis in New York City.
So, Joe, let's talk about you as the banker. I mean, M&T is a prominent, great bank, very involved in the real estate community over here. How do you make a bet on an Austin K or a Mark Simon?
Sure. So I think it's really important at M&T. You know, we pride ourselves on being a relationship lender. We really want somebody who has experience, and we're very active in the development.
But how do you get experience if you have to start somewhere, right?
You have to start somewhere. So, you know, as an M&T banker, I mean, we really like to do business with even those young guys who have done it before, right? So, you know, if somebody has done 2 or 3 rehabilitation projects and then they're doing a ground-up construction project, you know, maybe not necessarily for us. But if they've done the 2 or 3 rehabs and they bring us a rehab deal, you know, we'll do our due diligence, but something that we would certainly take a look at. So I think experience is really key, and it's a tough.
So in essence, Vic, I'll go next to you afterwards, because now part of Mark's life at Madison is to lend to the people who don't have that much experience, correct? Or have less capitalization and so on.
You know, in today's market, we've been financing more larger scale projects. In the past, it's been mostly middle market deals. I'd say at the moment, our average deal size is around $70 million, which brings in a more institutional
yes, it's more
kind of
sophisticated.
sponsorship.
But at one time, I mean, you would do some type of smaller deals.
Yeah, at one time we were doing smaller deals, more asset-based deals. You know, strong sponsorship was still strong, but it might not be as experienced or, you know, as liquid. And, you know, what you're seeing in today's environment with, you know, HVCRE rules and all the red tape that's associated with conventional lending, you're seeing a lot of high quality institutional sponsorships coming to us for financing.
What about on the opportunity size of building, on the development side? How difficult is it to find?
It's not easy on the construction side. You really have to be, you know, with a relationship kind of lender, or, you know, have a really great property that you own at a good basis that you can get low loan to cost financing. What we're seeing in the market is around 50 to 60% of cost on the construction side. And, you know, we're owner operators, developers ourselves. And then on the debt side of our business, we're going a little higher than that, but still very low loan to stabilized value.
Okay, here's the situation. You know, the real estate community in New York, and it's also around the country, always has the established, let's call them the families. I don't want to call the 5 families of organized crime, but you know, you had the CBREs, you had the East Stills, you know, you had the Cushman and Wakefields, and then you have the new kid on the block. How did you and Shimon decide to go into the business? You know, and also you went in a time that the world was coming just out of the recession. You went in 2011. How do you guys decide to get into the business, and how difficult is it to be in the investment sales business?
So in terms of the timing, you're right, that's when the gates were just kind of starting to open and things were starting to happen again. And
right, in 2009, they would have killed you.
Right.
Right.
Well, look, you also want to try to minimize your opportunity risk, so you try to time it appropriately for not when you're at the peak of the market, right? But I would say the primary factor in why we wanted to open up Ariel and why we did it at that time is really because of the team we had in place, right? And if you look at my other partners, Mike Tortorici and Ivan Petrovic, we all bring a different skill set to the table. And when we were at Massey, we were pretty much working as our own team or unit within the company. So we had,
So it was just, in a way, a continuation of this.
it was a natural progression for us, is how we looked at it. We wanted to be able to spread our wings and fly, and by opening up our own platform, that's how we were able to do this.
So as I was saying earlier, and Austin brought it out specifically, how do you network that you can grow your business today in what you're doing? Okay, how do you build? How do you meet more people? How do you successfully network that you can grow your career in a positive way of not being obnoxious? Also in this situation, how do you see that?
Well, there are great events that people put together, and I constantly find myself at those events talking to people, meeting new people, and it's also important to stay in front of brokers, such as the guys over here. I usually say let's try to meet at least twice a month, every month, just so we're up to date in terms of what's going on in our business life, and generally it sparks something that
Now,
can go on.
is Austin in the same group that you're involved with, that group, the networking group?
Not yet, but soon.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Too
because-
exclusive for me.
No, but I think that's an
Not for
important
you.
situation. Explain that group that you're in.
So I'm involved in Empire. It's a networking group of, up and coming younger real estate professionals aged 27 to 35. Everyone works. It's about 50 representative firms, one person from each firm. We meet around every other month, around 6 times a year. We're sponsored now by JLL. They sponsor our events. We bring in speakers. You were one of our speakers last year. And it's been a great networking experience, being able to, there's small dinners that you get to know people, drinks, and other events.
Joe, what about you?
Sure, so I think that's exactly right. I think it's getting involved in organizations that are going to foster a networking atmosphere. Personally, I'm involved in the Young Mortgage Bankers Association, the YMBA. We have 4 or 5 beneficial real estate events a year. To give an example, we're going to have a fireside chat with Gary Barnett next week, which is going to be a nice event, and a luncheon where you meet other like-minded real estate professionals, and I also think it's important to stay in front of prospective borrowers and clients, and getting out from behind the desk, right? I mean, it's sort of the old adage that you can't do real estate lending behind a desk, and I think getting to dinners, lunches, sporting events, any of the sort of events that are going to get you out of the office are important.
Vic?
I think you want to be very strategic with your time, and I think it's good to choose the locations you like to play in, right, when they have events. I think it's good to choose the topics that you're interested in. It's good to go to the places where the people you want to meet are, and it's good to be involved in the organizations that you have a passion for and you feel, is gratifying in some
Right,
way.
and I think one thing about Ariel is that you create your own networking events in the manner of when you have the coffee and cap rates, that there are a large number, you have 150 to 300 people coming to this event where they're gaining insight on what's happening in the market, and it's a good way for your people to meet more people.
That's absolutely right. And there's a lot of principles, and you want to balance these events, not with only service providers, with principals as well. And it helps when you have a very good moderator.
I have no idea who he is. Okay. So here's the next question. How hard is it today, with the difficulties, to grow your business?
So it's a good question, and it's a loaded question a little bit, right? So in terms of growing your own personal business, in today's world, look, without question, we're in a market right now which is much more active than it was in the same period of last year, right? There's more opportunities available, there's more transactions that are happening, things are going into contract a little more frequently, but everything is arduous. Everything is challenging, right? From selling to financing to securing the right retail tenant. So in terms of growing your business, you have to put the time in, right? There's no shortcuts, really. It takes a very kind of opportunistic approach, right? Strategic kind of development. You have to choose where you want to allocate your time and where it's most efficient
You-
in terms of growing the business. But in our business, the best way to grow a business is to have other people that can produce, right? And that's a very difficult task in brokerage. Is that not everybody's a producer?
Part of one of the reasons that M&T is so successful is they have a great team. Okay, and so is Ariel. Okay, Madison does also. Austin's trying to build up a team, on his own. But I think the M&T mentality of the team effort really was a very important thing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think any business is challenging to run, by yourself. But I think M&T really preaches a team mentality. We have a large group of lenders that sort of feed off one another, and it's a culture where, as a young lender, if you have a question about a nuance to a deal, you have 4 or 5 senior people that are willing to jump in right away and sort of help you with that process. So I think certainly creating an environment that fosters teamwork and encourages that is huge.
Here's a question that I have really for Austin. You're basically working by yourself in a different way.
Essentially, yes, but
No, but what happens is when you work small on a solo basis, you sometimes don't have the benefits of what Joe has, tapping the network for advice.
well, I'd like to think that I still have those resources. I have.
I mean, I think in a way you have because of what you had with Shaq and the George Washington.
Exactly.
I think the idea is one has to tap those other resources that you've accumulated over the years to be able to be successful.
Right.
Your involvement, besides the association, the Empire Group.
Networking? Listen, I just follow you around. That's the best way to network. But besides that, it's attending thoughtful events, being thoughtful with your time because there are so many. With the advent of technology, it's easier than ever to find opportunities. With LinkedIn and all the real estate related resources that we have at our fingertips, it makes finding opportunities that much easier, but it also makes the market that much more competitive.
I always ask this question on my Life Story show, so I'm going to ask it at my younger show. Where do you want to be in 10 years? What would you, if you had to look at my crystal apple over here, do you want to be a developer? Do you want to be a banker? Do you want to remain in this field? Or you want to grow to a couple of offices? I mean, and where do you want to see?
Well, I think the goal is to develop a portfolio of multifamily assets at a low basis and to continue to refinance them. And you have steady cash flow and own real estate for a long time.
Mr. Banker?
I think for me, I'm very happy where I am at my organization. Definitely happy in the real estate business and want to continue to grow in my role at M&T and continue to take on more responsibility.
Do you think it's important in the same way that Austin did to get his master's? Do you think it's important to have a master's today in real estate?
Look, I think a master's really in any industry helps you further your career. Certainly gives you that classroom education, but as great as a master's is, I think it's also really learning on the job, right? And actually being in the crux of a deal and going through the different nuances. I think you learn by doing, and the more deals you see of different asset types, as a lender, you get that opportunity. So certainly a great learning curve.
Vic?
I love coming to work in the morning, and I love my partners. So in 10 years, I would like to still be together as a partnership, and I would like to see Ariel continue to grow. And
So here's my question. You're in a different business. How do you grow your business, okay? Each person has a different type of business. The bank grows by one way, Austin grows by another way. Your major business is in the investment sales. You are in the financing, but that's not the main business. How do you grow, and how do you get the next Vic, the younger guy? How do you find the kid who's at Marist or who's at Manhattan College or George Washington to make a decision to go to work for Ariel?
You put yourself out there, as a company. You try to recruit from anywhere you can, and when someone comes in the door, you dedicate a lot of resources to cultivating that personnel and giving them the right tools to succeed, and giving them the support that they need to succeed as well. We're not the shop that takes a warm body and throws them in the ocean and says, "Hey, good luck, sink or swim." We really, every person that comes in the door, we know it's very strategic. It takes, it's very deliberate decision-making process, because we know we're going to dedicate a lot of resources to cultivating that person and their skill set as a salesperson, as an analyst, as a capital services, broker, a mortgage broker, or a research department. So it's really by dedicating resources and cultivating the people that you have.
Mark?
I'm very happy with what I do. I love waking up in the morning and seeing you, Michael. Best part of working in Madison. But besides that, it's been a great learning experience. Being both on the debt and equity side of the business, you get to see things from both perspectives, and that it helps me grow my personal business, seeing things on both sides.
When I was doing the LinkedIn research on everybody, Austin worked for a couple of companies in the brokerage business. That the old brokerage world, if you wanted to get into real estate, the idea was they gave you a phone and a desk, if you were lucky to get a desk, and they'd never give you anything else. You had to sink or swim. So today, I believe with technology and everything, it makes it a little easier, but the world of real estate is enlarged, okay? Because it's not only real estate, it's real estate technology. How do you see technology today? A lot of many families are investing in real estate technology and so on. Do you see technology as a big market?
Sure. We at M&T we're using things like Reese and CommStack to help us with our underwriting and our due diligence, and it's data that's sort of it's at your fingertips, right? It's a couple clicks away, and you have comps for a rental building in Long Island City. So it's certainly I think a positive trend for the industry as technology continues to improve and gets more competitive. So certainly a positive.
So I think real estate is a good business for men and women. There are opportunities out there. You make your own opportunity. And I'm happy that I'm with the next generation of real estate leaders who are going to all do well in my confidence. I'd like to thank Austin, Joe, Vic, Mark, and I'll see you next week.